Hello, this is the Kenyan Siasa. I am your host, Bali Odawa. The folks of the Kenyan Siasa, in this episode, our binoculars is focusing on what we are terming as the Kitengela effect. For those of you who are conversant, for those of you who are in touch with the situation in the Kenyan political streets, on Sunday, you'll remember very well that we had two major rallies. One in Kitengela and the other one in Tononoka, at Tononoka grounds in Mombasa. One in Kitengela, Nairobi County, and the other one at Tononoka grounds in Mombasa. The one in Kitengela was being led or was organized by an ODM faction that is opposed to President William Ruto. That is not reading from the same script with President William Ruto. Here we are talking about the likes of Sia Governor James Orengo, Babu MP for Embakasi East, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, Viga Senator and also ODM leader Ososi, Kisii Senator Onyonka, Nyamira Senator Okongo Omogeni, among many others. On the other side, at Tononoka grounds, we have the ODM faction, status quo, that is supporting President William Ruto, that is being led by Oburu Odinga, Senator for Siaya County and brother to the late Raila Odinga. We have Junet Mohammed. We have Abdul Swamad, Governor for Mombasa County. We have Gladys Wanga, Governor for Homa Bay County, among many others. Now, it was obvious, it was palpable, it was conspicuous that the rally that was held by the Sifuna Babu Orengo faction in Kitengela carried the day. It was electric, full of agility, full of vibrancy, frenzy, and actually lots of people have agreed or have concluded that in it, the spirit of Baba, like Raila Odinga, emerged. On the other side, at Tononoka grounds in Mombasa, we can't say that it was successful. However, it wasn't that eye-catchy. It wasn't that impactful. And even going by the daily standard of Monday, at the headlines, it stated that Sifuna roars in Kitengela, contrasting it to its statement about Tononoka ground, stating that ODM limps in Mombasa at Tononoka grounds. So, the folks of the Kenyan Siasa, for those of you who are conversant with the Kenyan political streets, you know it very well that Edwin Sifuna right now has been ousted as the Secretary General, has been removed from his docket, unconstitutionally, though, by the NEC, National Executive Committee of ODM, from his docket as the Secretary General, and got replaced by the Busia Women Rep, Catherine Omanyo. And since that ejection, revolution, animosity, I beg your pardon, not animosity from the lenses of violence, but for lack of better words, agitation has emerged in this young tax camp that is opposed to President William Ruto. And they have stood their ground firm, stating that Edwin Sifuna is still the Secretary General of the party, constitutionally, despite the fact that their NEC ejected him. And a great populace that supports the ODM party currently are shifting towards a trajectory that is leading towards the camp of Edwin Sifuna, Babu, and James Orengo. And if we just or if we just peg our conclusion on the events that took place on Sunday, we can say boldly that right now, yes, the status quo led by Oburu Odinga might have the instruments of power of the party. However, based on the emerging events, it's obvious that the James Orengo, Babu, Edwin Sifuna faction is with the Monanchi. A great populace of people are shifting towards this other group that is opposed to President William Ruto. Therefore, the effects of the Kenyan siasa, from the event that took place on Sunday, we can just say that, one, the ODM status quo faction led by Oburu Odinga and Gladys Wanga should now go to the drawing board, because based on the trends, based on the emerging events that we are witnessing, they might have the instruments of the party leadership. However, they're losing their ground. They're losing their base. Therefore, they might soon be rendered obsolete or irrelevant. Therefore, they should go back to the drawing board, see if it's possible for them to sort out the wrangles or the divisions within the party in an amicable way, so that they get back to the old unified ODM. Otherwise, if that isn't done, they will be rendered irrelevant, and even their chances of surviving in the 2027 general elections is becoming slim. And they might not even have the bargaining power with regards to negotiation at the national political table of negotiation as we head towards the 2027 general elections. Because what gives you the muscles to negotiate and to bargain is the masses, is the votes. And now, if you don't have the masses with you, you don't have a voice at the national political brokerage table. On the other side, based on the Kitengela effect, on the opposition side, led by the Akina Rigathi Gachagua, the immediate former deputy president, this rally also has an impact on them. For a long time, the Rigathi Gachagua's faction has had the monopoly of opposition, or the faction that fights President William Ruto viciously. And for anyone who was opposed to President William Ruto, chances were high that they were going to get allied by this faction of Rigathi Gachagua. However, based on the emerging events, the Edwin Sifuna group is coming with vigor, is coming with agility that is unmatched. Therefore, the Akina Rigathi Gachagua's group might be rendered irrelevant, or for lack of better words, they might lose their charm. Therefore, they also need now to go back to the drawing board, see or come up with ways that will make their faction vibrant, rejuvenated, invigorated, as they fight in this space that is objecting, or that is against President William Ruto's re-election in the 2027 general elections. Another conclusion or finding that we can make based on the happenings that took place on Sunday is that right now, this group being led by James Orengo, Edwin Sifuna, Babu group, is now going to make a new definition, or is now going to bring some dynamics with regards to the 2027 general elections. They're a reckoning force that is emerging, and you can't ignore them as we go forward to the 2027 general elections. Therefore, anyone who is serious about getting or about clinching the presidency in the year 2027 general elections must seduce them, engage them, and see or find out a way in which they can create a working partnership of clinching power in the 2027 general elections. You folks of the Kenyan Siasa, we reach the halt of this episode. For those of you who are subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Kenyan Siasa, we're humbled, we're glad, thank you. And for those of you who are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Kenyan Siasa, we beseech you to show some love by subscribing. Then hit on the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload content. Remember that the Kenyan Siasa is the echelon of the Kenyan political dynamics dissection pinnacle. I'm Jabali, Udawa, and Adawa. Until next time, bye-bye.